is out of commission today. We don't know where he is. He's all good. He's getting ready for football. And you know something? He's been texting me nonstop about the Mets. And, like, honestly, I can't handle it right now because he's talking about Jacob deGrom, maybe having to get Tommy John, same kind of treatment that Tyler Glasnow's got to get. Like, my mind, I just can't handle it right now. And, like, my Mets future is hanging by a thread. I'm worried, bro. Honestly, like, I am. But you know something? We got football around the corner. We got a great guest today. But first, Kyle, how we feeling?
I'm feeling great, man. It would be a normal week as usual, but for me, as a wrestling fan, the pay-per-view that they had in Chicago this past weekend, all out, what a hell of a pay-per-view. Wrestling's back, and you're going to see those two promotions, AEW and WWE, going at it. It's going to be another wrestling war. I'm telling you.
That's what's up, man. But you know what, bro? We got a great guest backstage. He's a friend of the show. We had him on in the summer right before Memorial Day weekend, talking a lot of baseball, but now it's football. The one and only Andrew Caley from Covers. How you doing, baby? Thanks for taking the time.
What's up, guys? I'm jacked to be back, jacked to talk some football with you guys. I'm a little tired of baseball, too. The Jays are stressing me out way too much right now. They're out, they're in. Vladdy's hot, he's cold, he's hot again. It's they got a big game with the Yankees tonight, so hopefully they can take Garrett Cole down a peg or two. But for now, let's talk some football and take my mind off of it.
Hey, you know what? I mean, at least you're not like me, the Red Sox, who had first place. And yeah, exactly, Andrew. It looked like we had it. Oh, we're good. I was waiting for the collapse all year.
Come on, didn't we talk about this in May? The three of us sat here and talked about this in May. We said the Red Sox are a facade. Their offense is legit, but the same thing comes down. They don't have the pitching. Yes, Chris Sale's come back. He's looked pretty good. But they got this close. The Yankees didn't get going yet, and the Rays are literally Moneyball 2.0. They don't lose. They came back from down 7 yesterday. That's unbelievable. I don't know how the Red Sox pulled that off. But in any case, guys, listen, we got a huge game on Thursday. It is the Super Bowl kickoff here, the NFL Week 1 kickoff between the Cowboys and the Bucks. Guys, who you got?
I'll jump in, I guess. I just saw the number jump to 8, making the Bucks 8-point home favorites, and it makes me a little uneasy. But it's Dak's first game since his big injury last year. The Cowboys are really terrible against the pass. Yes, they went out and tried to address that. A bunch of their top draft picks were all defenders, and they got Gus Bradley to run the defense, but it's going to take some time for that team to adjust. And if you force me to take a side here, at least on the spread, I'm going to have to lean the Bucks, but I can't. The number, it makes me a little uncomfortable.
I'll say this, though. Sorry, John, I was just going to take that right there. I don't care if I have a gun to my head. I'm taking the Bucks with the points on this one because the Cowboys are so goddamn atrocious. I'm sorry. I can't be going through this drill every single year with the Dallas Cowboys where it's like, oh, they're going to be good this year. Oh, they're going to be Super Bowl contenders. I'm tired of that routine. I'm over it. I'm done. The Tampa Bay Bucks, as I'm watching it on the TV right over here on my right, they're bringing back all 22 starters. Tom Brady looks the numbers, it hasn't been his best, but hey, he looks physically as good as he's ever looked in his life.
Tons of weapons. There's just Antonio Brown could be good again. We're not that far away from thinking he is the best wide receiver in football, and you've still got Evans, and you can go ahead, Johnny.
No, listen. All I was gonna say is so. Yeah, a couple books have this game going up to 8 right now, but I think, you can still find places like FanDuel that has it at 7.5. And the line moved the full point from the opening from 6.5 to 7.5. And obviously, there's a lot of sharp money right now on Tampa. A lot of the money is on Tampa, so it's still kind of good. When I checked the other day, about 58% of the action was actually on in terms of the bets. 58% of the action was on Tampa Bay, which actually is good because once you start getting high 60s is when you're approaching fade the public territory. But I got to say this, man, and I've been saying it the whole way. This is an interesting stat everybody needs to take a look at that I came up with. So out of the last 10 Super Bowl winners, fresh off the Super Bowl, their next game of the first game of the next season They are 7-3 with an average margin victory of 12.2 points. Tom Brady in his career, off a Super Bowl, the first game of the next season, is 5-1 with an average margin of victory of 13.3 points. He averages 305 yards per game as well as 2.5 tutties per game. So I think the writing is on the wall. You see the sample size that Tom Brady is unbelievable off Super Bowls. Aside from the fact that Tampa Bay is a much better team, they're at home coming off the victory where they brought everybody back. Dallas has always been sus. They've always had a bunch of question marks. Dak Prescott is coming off a major injury. They did not get Zeke Elliott going the way he should have been. Their defense is still trash. I mean, there's no reason to think that Dallas is going to be able to really keep this close. I hate the fact that we're all agreeing, but on the spread, I don't care. To me, if Tampa Bay wins by anything less than 10 points, I'll be utterly shocked. I think Tampa Bay is going to hammer them. They're going to put up 30-plus points. I could see it being like 31-20. Just get the under. And I think Dallas is going to do what they typically do when they're down 20 points. They start padding some stats, and it's going to look like Dak Prescott had a good game when he really didn't, and he's going to get harassed. The fact that Zach Martin's out with COVID up the middle, it's going to be a long night for Dallas. Tampa Bay, Your Honor, no objections.
I was going to say the bet I do really like in this game is the Bucks to go over their team total. I'm seeing it out there at 29.5, and I really like. I was getting into a little bit before there. Just too many weapons for the Cowboys to handle right now.
For a terrible Cowboys defense.
Exactly.
You know what, dude? I like that 100%. I think all the weapons are going to eat. The guys who I'm really looking at, we got to wait to see what the prop bets are, but the guys who I'm going to circle for, I think for this game, I think I'm circling Antonio Brown and I'm circling CD Lamb in terms of the two receivers. I want to see what their yardage is. We don't have the number right now, but I have to imagine Brown's probably going to be in the high 40s, low 50s if I had to put a hypothesis on it, and CD Lamb will probably be in the high 50s. Caley, if you could come up with anything, let me know. But I think that'll be.
I got you, buddy. Antonio Brown, his receiving yards total is at 60.5 for this game. But the number that I really like is him to go over his reception total of 4.5. That's what I really like for him there.
Brown 5 for 75 at a tutty on week 1. Absolutely, I could see it. CD Lamb, I'm sure now has got to be in the mid-60s. I mean, they're going to be playing catch-up. Prescott's probably going to throw the ball close to 40 times. Lamb, I could see easily getting $115, and some garbage time numbers. I think there's a lot of prop bets to be had. It's going to be a fun Thursday to watch.
Antonio Brown is plus 150 to score a touchdown. I like that as well. Ooh.
Yeah, no question. I mean, listen, we could skin this game alive in terms of bets.
Get Antonio Brown in your touchdown parlays, folks.
No doubt. So, listen, obviously this isn't the first game, or this is the first game of the week, but it's not the only game. We're all excited for this. Football's finally back, but week 1's featuring a ton of great games. There's a lot on the slate. I've got like 5 games I got my eyes on, got my mind on. But Andrew, tell me, what's the week 1 matchup you're looking forward to the most?
It may sound weird, but I'm all in on this Miami Dolphins, New England Patriots game, the battle of the Alabama quarterbacks. I'm a big Tua guy. I think he got ragged on a lot last year. He wasn't really given an opportunity. He was coming off a major hip injury. Coming into the draft the year before, I had him as the highest rated quarterback ahead of Justin Herbert, ahead of Joe Burrow. And he just, due to his deep ball accuracy and the way he can just make plays. And I really like what Brian Flores is doing in Miami right now. And there's a lot of hype around Mac Jones. He had a good preseason, yes, but I'm not buying it right now. And getting points with Miami in this spot, I just love it. Like, I love getting the points here. I think Miami wins the game. I'm going to make a money line bet on the Dolphins in this game, and I'm not that nervous about it. I really think Miami has the edge here. Mac Jones, yes, very excellent year at Alabama. He's going to be thrown into the wolves right away, though. Miami's defense was much better last year, and I think they'll be even better again this year. And I don't know, 58% of Mac Jones' yardage last year came within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage. like because he was dumping it off to Devonta Smith and Jalen Waddle and handed it off to Najee Harris and was playing behind the best offensive line in college football. And it's just, that's not going to be the case in New England. I know he's coached up really well. He's a smart kid. He's an accurate quarterback, but I'm just not buying all the hype right now. So I'm really excited to see the battle of Alabama quarterbacks here in week 1.
You know something, that's intriguing to me. That's your game to watch, because you know what, I think there's more interesting games to watch. But I mean, you do bring. I'm just being straight. Like, you do
That's
bring
fair.
something out though, because it's the battle of the Alabama quarterbacks, and you know, I'm all about seeing if Tua is for real this year. I think Miami has one of the best core units. They have one of the best rosters top to bottom in the entire NFL. So the biggest question for them is obviously going to be if Tua is going to finally step up. I mean, Miami's 15-10 in their last 25 games. That's awesome. That's all well and good. And they really had their moments, where they clicked at some point later last year when Tua stepped in. But I think you're selling Mac Jones a little short. I don't think he's going to be great. I don't think he doesn't impress me. But what I will say is he's in the Bill Belichick, Josh McDaniels system. Though that is built for a guy like Mac Jones, a pocket passer, and you've seen it before. New England quarterbacks, you don't always have to do too much. The system fits. You just run the system. They got a guy like Damian Harris who can take the pressure off. They got a couple playmakers at pass catcher. They have a pretty good defense, even with Stephon Gilmore out for the first 6 weeks. I think New England winning this division would not surprise me. It really wouldn't. I think Buffalo's going to have to take a step back. They won 14 games last year. I actually have them going under. I think they might win 10 games. I think their defense is not good. I think their rushing attack needs to be addressed. And I'm not saying everybody figured out their passing attack, but people are going to catch on to them. I mean, that type of thing can only work so well. You know, they don't have they're not Kansas City where they could just beat you a million different ways. They could beat you one way. And Buffalo doesn't impress me. I think New England could really take it. Unless Tua, and I would back Miami if I knew Tua was going to be anything special or even decent to win the division. But I will side with you. I think Miami could pull this one out on the road. You know, the 2.5 is a pretty favorable spot. What do you think, Kyle?
For me, the front runner of the division is still going to be, you know, how Chris Berman puts it. Nobody circles the wagon like the Buffalo Bills. So as far as I'm concerned, they're the top dog. You got to knock them off. And until somebody does that in this division, which right now, obviously, it's gonna be New England or Miami. So, I mean, are they capable? Both teams? Yes. So, honestly, it's a 3-headed dogfight as far as I'm concerned at the top for this division. And the Jets are just going to be at the bottom, you know, with 4 wins.
Fair enough. But, all right, so now what's your week 1 matchup you're looking forward to the most?
My week 1, I'm not going to be a homer here, clearly. But I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs against the Cleveland Browns. 5-point difference in the AFC Championship game last year. I really like what Cleveland's been doing. I think they're as long as OBJ. Here's the big thing for me: as long as OBJ stays healthy, I think the Browns not only are real Super Bowl contenders, but also Baker Mayfield takes another step in his QB progression.
I mean, that's a fair point. I think having a guy like Odell Beckham, like he hasn't been himself since what, 2014, I think. I want to say like it's been a long time from Odell Beckham. It's been a very long time. Like he has not been himself in 4+ years. You know, obviously he's had a ton of injuries, but I really do think he could still offer some type of playmaking ability. The good thing about the Baker Mayfield and the Browns offense is they're a run-first offense. They're a run-heavy offense. They have one of the best lines in the league. They have arguably their backup is better than their starter, and their starter is one of the best running backs in the league. So I think there's a lot to like. I'm really looking forward to Kansas City. And you know what, man? I got to be honest. I could see Kansas City winning this game, but Cleveland covering it, because at the end of the day, you know, Kansas City, yes, they are 3-0 in their last 3 season openers with an average margin of victory of 12.7 points, 44-12 straight up last 3 seasons. But the Browns
I see this as a field goal game.
The Browns are unlike any other team they're going to face. I mean, maybe the Browns are rusty to start the season off. I think this is going to be a potential AFC playoff preview. I think maybe even the AFC championship.
Maybe the Chiefs catch them sleeping. Yeah, maybe they do.
Maybe they do, but I got to be honest, man. I think, especially with the addition of Jadeveon Clowney, the Browns are the truest matchup problem for Kansas City in the AFC, and they pretty much proved it last year in the playoffs. You know, that play before half really turned the game where that stupidest rule in football, reaching for the end zone, and it fumbles and you get a touchback going the other way. What do you think, Andrew?
I'm gonna be teasing this game because I feel you guys a bit here. I'm not gonna lay the 6 points. I'll probably tease it down to a pick'em and put the Chiefs in a few pick'em plays. But you mentioned that they've got the Browns have the ability to do what the Bucks did, and that's get pressure on Patrick Mahomes without blitzing. And Jadeveon Clowney probably isn't going to end up with a lot of sacks this year, but you still have to account for him. And Myles Garrett could have an absolutely monster season this year for the Browns with Clowney on the other side there. And it could be
because he won't have to face the double teams as much.
Exactly. Like, you're going to have to pick your poison there. And that was the biggest problem for the Chiefs in that Super Bowl. Obviously, they completely revamped that offensive line. Like, it is, I think, almost 100% different than the team that started in the Super Bowl. But so it'll be an interesting test early on. Like I said, I'll probably tease them down in a few teasers down to a pick'em. But I'm a little wary at the 6. This Browns team is dangerous. I like Baker Mayfield's progression as well. As you said, he's got some weapons there as well. I love Nick Chubb. I think he's going to have a big year as well. So it's going to be a tough game to open the season.
Another developing story, though, real quick in that division for one of the Browns' competitors, going to be towards the top of that division, the Steelers. T.J. Watt's holding out of team drills over his contract dispute. So that's a big developing story for their defense.
And they need to. That defense needs to be what
they need him.
They need him. The defense needs him. The defense needs to be great because I have no faith. I think Ben's arm's hanging by a thread right now.
I agree, totally am in lockstep with you on that.
He's got some great receivers. Like, I love Deontay Johnson and my Canadian boy Chase Claypool, but that arm, I don't know how I feel about Ben Roethlisberger these days.
Love the ND product, Chase Claypool. What a stud he's going to be in future years, let me tell you.
You know what? I'm actually fading the Steelers this year. I think they were frauds last year. Not to get sidetracked. I think they were frauds last year. Ben, yeah, he's got a year. Ben didn't have a bad year last year. 33 tutties to 10 picks. Like, the line is totally different now, and I want to see what their strategy is going to be. And T.J. Watt, a loss with him going against Josh Allen, who you need to keep contained, and Watt's the type of athlete that could do it. That's like an immediate problem for their matchup on Sunday.
So, Johnny, what are you looking forward to? Matchup?
I would say the matchup I got to be looking forward to, and there's a lot of them. I can't get it out of my head. I cannot wait to see Arizona and Tennessee. Star power on fire. Deandre Hopkins versus Julio Jones on his new team with the Titans. I want to see how the Titans are going to deploy Julio and AJ, and then I have Derrick Henry. Now, let's not forget something here. And this is an interesting point, because now with the addition of Julio Jones going alongside AJ Brown, that means Derrick Henry should not be seeing that many stacked boxes. He had 702 yards versus 8-man fronts last year. Oh, by the way, that was a very large gap leading the NFL. So it's just going to be interesting. But their defense is terrible. Their defense is hot garbage. Yeah, they added Bud Dupree fresh off like a torn ACL. That's brutal. They haven't gotten a consistent pass rusher. Like, they lost Logan Ryan, Malcolm Butler, Caleb Farley. Like, you don't know what you're going to get from him. I mean, they have a couple guys who haven't blossomed, like Harold Landry at linebacker, Rashaan Evans. They haven't blossomed yet, and they need to. So I think this is going to be probably a shootout. It's one of the highest projected totals. It's at 52 right now, just under the 53 of the Browns Chiefs.
Easy over.
This could be very well one of those games. Whoever gets the ball last wins. Because I want to see Kyler Murray. I want to see Nuck Hopkins. I want to see how they use it with Chase Edmonds. Now the addition of James Conner. Maybe see if Ronda Moore makes a little early splash. Yeah, the Cardinals put up a couple defenders, in the offseason, like J.J. Watt, even though they got rid of Patrick Peterson. I need to see how both teams are going to deploy not only their defense, but now their offense, especially the Titans, because it's so new now without Arthur Smith and my boy Julio coming to town. I have to watch it. I'm stacking the hell out of it in DFS. I got so many fantasy implications. I don't even know if I want to bet it personally, because I might have to watch this. Like, I'm already going to have so much odds of just watching it like back and forth. It's going to be like a Tyson Ali, if those two ever met in their careers, heavyweight type of bout. Like, it's going to be just some fireworks going off. And I got to be honest, if this thing doesn't at least hit 50, I'd be surprised. But I could see the Titans trying to slow down the tempo, get King Henry his 25 carries, and, just kind of keeping everybody else at bay on the Cardinals and keeping Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins on the sidelines. What do you think, Andrew?
That's 100% what the strategy is going to be for the Titans in this one, keeping Kyler Murray off the field as much as possible. I think I'm going to start investing a bit in the Cardinals this year. They have an extremely tough schedule, so I'm going to sprinkle just lightly, but you can get them at almost plus 4,000 to win the Super Bowl right now, and they're at plus 500 to win the division. Yes, the Rams are going to be the favorites along with the Niners, but the Niners quarterback situation always is still making me a little iffy. And
I would feel more comfortable with the Seahawks versus the Niners there in that division, honestly.
That's and I kind of shocks me to say it a bit, but I kind of like what Cliff Kingsbury's doing there in the desert. And that team, rave reviews for AJ Green coming out of camp right now. They're saying he looks better than he has in years. He's not that old. He's old for a receiver, but he's not in his late 30s.
He's not a dinosaur.
Yeah, he's not a dinosaur yet. And I just did a lot of weapons there. Also, another great tidbit here for you guys from up north. Their backup quarterback is named Chris Strevler. This guy's 6'6", this giant behemoth of a dude, and he was the quarterback for the Grey Cup champion Winnipeg Blue Bombers before he got signed by the Cardinals. But he's this goal line freak he'll put it in from 5 yards out almost every single time. So there just tons of unique weapons there for Kingsbury, and I think he does a lot with them this year.
You know what's funny? Hold on, wait, real quick, Kyle, because you know what's funny, and Kyle, you'll agree with this. Our boy Nick, who's not here right now, is this is his team. He thinks Kyler Murray's going to win MVP. He thinks the Cardinals are going to win the division. He thinks they're all in. Are you really sold? Yes, they have weapons, they can light it up, but their defense is not that good. I mean, they were both top 6 offenses last year. Cardinals were 13 in points per game, and Kyler Murray had his shoulder hanging by a thread for a few games. And, 68% of the public is on the Titans, so it's approaching fade the public territory. Cardinals might not be a bad pick. Do you really think that they're going to win the division? Their defense is very sus, and their offense isn't – I don't think it's as good as advertised. I think it's good, but not as good.
I think every single team in that division has glaring question marks. Even the Rams, I think the Rams have some excellent top end talent, and Matthew Stafford's first year there, and he should be able to light it up there. But there's a huge gap between the Rams' best players and their 53-man roster. It's a bunch of really great guys and then a bunch of bums. That's what they are. And they're, like I said, there's quarterback. You don't know when's Trey Lance going to take the field for the Niners. I'm not sure. I don't know if Shanahan knows, and if they start losing games, what are they going to do? And the Seahawks still have their problems as well. The defense is going to be sus there as well. They didn't do much to address their problems on defense. And Russell Wilson, while things have quieted down, they didn't address that offensive line well. Partially his fault because he just runs out of the pocket way too quickly at times, I think. But every team has issues in that division to me. And for me, it's all about the value. The value on the Cardinals is so much greater for something that I think they could do. Yeah, I think they could do it. But the value on them is so much better than anyone else in that division that's why I'm going to sprinkle on them.
So real quick here, a note on the Seahawks and then a note on the Cardinals. The note on the Seahawks is that Dwayne Brown has just restructured his deal with the Seahawks. So it kind of gives them a little wiggle room to work with as far as cap wise and whatnot. So whether they address an issue on defense with that money or they help put the depth at the offensive line there, we'll see what happens. My question to you though is with the Cardinals wide receiver core, you got D-Hop there. Christian Kirk is still there. Am I right there? Okay. So he's still there. You got AJ Green there. Is there anybody else that I'm missing here? Don't they also have
Rondale Moore? Rondale Moore is my favorite rookie wide receiver this year. That dude is awesome. Like, I remember watching him play his first game at Purdue like 3 years ago, and he scored 4 touchdowns, I think, like 2 returns, two receiving ones, and had like 300 total yards. Like, this dude's going to be a stud. And I think he came into this year. He kind of had a weird year last year in college. Like, he opted out at first because he didn't think the Big Ten was playing, and then he kind of opted in, and it was just a real mess of a year. And he was so we haven't seen the best of Rondale Moore for a couple of years, and I think if he's healthy and good to go, that dude could have been a steal for the Cardinals.
And is Andy Isabella also in that wide receiver room? So I mean, you got 5 guys right there that are just top. Well, maybe not top caliber, but I mean, you got a really, really deep wide receiver room there that makes that offense just so multi-dimensional, because then you force one-on-one coverage everywhere.
Yeah, listen, I mean, they're going to be good. If it wouldn't surprise me at all to see the Cardinals be a top 5 offense this year, top 5 in yards, top 5 in points. It's just at the end of the day, when it comes down to their defense, like, how many times do we think that they're going to be like, when it comes down to facing the Rams, because chances are they're going to have to beat the Rams. They have tough matchups with the Rams. The Niners defense is still good. Like, they get Nick Bosa back. Do we think they're going to beat out the Rams for the division? I mean, if Stafford does anything close to what he's done in the past, I mean, the running game will figure itself out. I think Henderson's going to be good this year. I don't think he's going to get a full lion's share, or not lion's share, a full workhorse workload, because that's just not him. But they got Bobby Trees, Higbee, they got Cooper Kupp. Line is still pretty solid, and their defense is arguably the best in football. If not, it's top 3. And they got guys that could get after Kyler Murray. And I mean, listen, for the value, it's worth a shot. At plus 600, plus 500, it's definitely worth it. I mean, Super Bowl is a huge long shot. I'd rather take a chance on even Cleveland or the Chargers or somebody like that, because to me the Chargers would be a better long shot pick, because I think they could actually take down the Chiefs if their defense holds up. But so, Andrew, we've been talking about the week 1, our favorite matchups, but what about season long? Like, what's some of the futures bets that you're highlighting? Like, what's some of the favorites that you've seen?
I don't want to get your hopes up here, Johnny. Like, I didn't do this just because I was coming on this show. This was circled. I've talked about this on other forums before this, but Calvin Ridley's receiving yard total prop is at 1375. I think that is way too low. He had 1,374 yards last year, and he gets an extra game. He goes. And I just think he's going to pop off in that offense. No more Julio Jones. Julio Jones in Tennessee, up in Tennessee now, and it's now this. Wait, where am I pointing that box over there? and I just think he's going to be he could lead the league in receiving this year. You can still get him at plus 700-ish, but I'm going to take Ridley to lead the league in receiving at about plus 700. I think.
Really,
it's not plus 1,000 anymore.
No, it's come down a bit.
It would have to be probably between him and Devonte Adams, you would think, this year, right, Andrew?
I had him at plus 1,000. I'll be pissed if it's at plus 700. So I'm losing major value, bro. I really loved Calvin Ridley for the last 3 weeks, and I'll be utterly stunned. Let's see if I can. Listen, bro, I'll be really mad. Like, if Calvin Ridley doesn't lead the league in, at plus 1,000, I'll be really mad. Let's see. Most receiving yards.
Check your book.
Plus 1,000 off FanDuel. Plus 1,000 off FanDuel. Still, value's still there. Like, listen.
So there's a great word of advice to all your viewers out there. Shop around. Like, there's with regulated books everywhere now. Make sure you're getting the best number possible. Like, I just looked at a book here, and it was about plus 750 there for him to do that. So it depends on, maybe at that book right there, they've just received a big chunk of sharp money on Ridley to do that. But definitely go shop around. I think he's going to pop off. Like I said, he's in for a big year, and I just don't get the number at all. Unless he gets hurt, I don't see him having a worse year than last year.
You know something, man? I'm 100% in agreement with you. We talked about this off air. And I've said this for weeks. I think Calvin Ridley not only leads the league in receiving yards, I think he ends up as fantasy's wide receiver 1 this year. I think he's coming out for blood. I think last year he proved he was a star. I think this year he proves he's a superstar. I think if he has anything less than 1,500 yards, I'll be very surprised. I think he's going to have at least 1,550. I think it's going to be good enough to lead the league. And I got to be honest, I think he leads the league in targets. I think Atlanta's still going to be playing from behind a lot. I'd be surprised if, Ridley gets under 170 targets now with the 17 games. I think he's really going to shine. And plus 1,000, Ridley's one of these sneak guys. Like if you look at Devonte Adams, he's not a big yards getter in his career. He's got a couple 1,300-yard seasons, but it took him like 3 years into his career to get his first 1,000-yard season. Tyreek Hill's a big guy, but then you have Travis Kelce taking a lot of his numbers here. Now AJ Brown, Julio Jones, they're going to kind of cancel each other out. Justin Jefferson, same thing with Adam Thielen, Evans and Godwin, Stephon Diggs. He's probably the biggest threat, I would say. I think he's going to come down a little bit. Defenses are going to kind of game plan a little bit for that. But I think Ridley now, especially with Kyle Pitts taking some of that attention away, is not going to be able to double team Calvin Ridley. I think that's a great bet, dude. I really do. I think he leads the league in yards. He gets his over on the prop bet at 1375. That's a no-brainer to me. I think that's a great call on your part.
Don't want you to think I had my head down here just looking at nothing, okay? I'm sitting here looking at FanDuel. So I'm checking this out, and I'm looking at this because it took me a minute to find the category you guys are talking about. I'm looking at it right here, and my mind's baffled, okay? Calvin Ridley's at plus 1,000, like you said. So I think that's really good odds, really good value there. But then you're telling me there's somebody that's a little lower on that list at even greater value, and Devonte Adams at plus 1,300. You're fucking sorry, excuse me. You got to be kidding me,
bro. We just talked about why Devonte Adams isn't the guy.
But he's got to be the guy in my mind. I mean, he's just good. He's gonna have another monster year. It's the last dance for Aaron Rodgers. Robert Tonyan's there. You got St. Brown who got drafted. So I just think that there's not going to be the opportunity to double team Devonte Adams like you might think that there would be.
There is, and the fact that people don't double team Devonte Adams is honestly, it boggles my mind. And when the Bucs weren't double teaming in the NFC Championship game, I literally was screaming, I'm like, bro, like, how do you not double Devonte Adams? He's literally their only threat, and especially when you got like Devin White able to take out Tonyan. Like, but it's neither here nor there. I mean, listen, Adams is good value.
Go ahead, but that leads me to my next prop. It's because you're not going to be able to double Calvin Ridley, because I think Kyle Pitts is also going to go off this year. The dude is tight end in name only, and you can get him at to win offensive rookie of the year at about plus 1,000 right now. And like I already ragged on Mac Jones earlier, but Mac Jones is now the favorite to win offensive rookie of the year since winning that job. And I just don't get it. Offensive rookie of the year is not just a quarterback award like MVP has become over the years. Tons of skill position guys win offensive rookie of the year, and Kyle Pitts is special. Like, just the dude is special. You're not gonna you can't double team both him and Calvin Ridley, and they're a problem. And I really like the value. He's like, I think 7th or 8th on the offensive rookie of the year boards to win that award, and I don't get that whatsoever.
Yeah, he's like 6th right now on FanDuel right here that I'm looking at, and he's at plus 1,100. And then here's one that I do like, though. It was a sneaky play for offensive rookie of the year there, Andrew, is Javonte Williams for the Denver Broncos. I really think that, if he comes in there and he just takes over that role, look out. That's a sleeper pick for offensive rookie of the year.
I like Javonte Williams. I think he's got to do a lot early to separate himself from Melvin Gordon, because he's still going to be.
That's why I'm saying if he really takes off early, look out. That's a sleeper.
As regards to Pitts, I mean, I think he's going to have a good year, but the fact is, let's say he has 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns, right? That will put him in unbelievable position to win it. But I mean, that's a high stretch. But then, if Trevor Lawrence has 4,200 yards and 30 touchdowns as a rookie, it's going to be hard to unseat it. It's just the quarterbacks have to underperform and Pitts has to overperform. And that's not even including if Najee Harris comes in and rushes for 1,200 yards and 12 touchdowns as a rookie. It's worth a shot.
Or Devontae Smith.
Sorry,
Andrew. Or Devontae Smith being the only target other than Dallas Goedert and Philly, so he gets a ton of looks and he gets a ton of receptions and a ton of yards. and you throw in like 8 or 9 touchdowns, he would be in the conversation as well.
I think Jalen Hurts is super inaccurate, and Gardner Minshew might take his job. And I think the Pittsburgh Steelers have a terrible offensive line, and their problem wasn't the running backs last year. Yeah, the running backs weren't great, but they were getting hit behind the line of scrimmage all season long, and they did not fix that offensive line. So Najee Harris is a stud. I love that dude. But I like just the situation for Pitts and the value you're getting with me. I just think he's a special dude. He is one of the most special dudes in the league right now. With that we haven't seen play yet.
That's actually a really good point. I'm going to take it to a couple of mine. I got a player prop. I mean, you talked about Calvin Ridley. I got a few. I would say, and this isn't. I mean, it's a season outlook type of thing. It's not necessarily just like a prop bet. I want to say Rams-Browns Super Bowl. You could get it about plus 6,500, or no, I'm sorry. Yeah, I think you get it about plus 6,500. Now, hear me out. And I've said this the last couple times, but I haven't said it to you. Now, in the NFC, in my opinion, right now, there's 3 teams that could really win the Super Bowl. It's the Packers, the Bucks, and the Rams. Now, in the NFC, when you get the Packers, they showed like they haven't made any improvements. They can't beat the physical teams. Like they don't. Like they're not there yet. But they're still good enough to win 12, 13 games. The Bucks, it's so hard to not only get back there, but win it twice in a row. If anybody could do it, it is Tom Brady. But as we saw last year, even though Tampa Bay got off slow, no preseason, no training camp, hard to build chemistry, they struggled. Their losses last year, aside from the Chiefs, in the regular season, were all to teams that are very physical. Saints twice, the Bears, and the Rams actually in the regular season. The Rams defensively haven't really changed that much. So I think the Rams have the edge over the Bucks in the NFC. And I think Stafford, like I said, he's going to light it up, man. He is coming out for blood. He's going to cut throats this year. That takes him to the NFC. Now, the AFC, it's pretty simple. The Chiefs are the cream of the crop. So the team that could beat them, to me, is based on matchup, which we talked about earlier, the Browns, because they could run the ball, keep Mahomes on the sidelines. Their defense improved a lot. And now with the addition of Jadeveon Clowney, not only can you get pressure and get home front 4, but you could keep Mahomes contained in the pocket, which is huge. A lot of his amazing plays have come because he breaks contain, starts running around, does the Ben Roethlisberger extend the play and make something down the field. So at plus 6,500, I don't think that's that far of a stretch. I really don't. For the value, throw 100.
I love the value.
And I think the Browns are going to beat the Rams, or the Rams are going to beat the Browns. So that's plus 8,500. So, I mean, you would hit it every way and clean up. But, one of the prop bets I really like, and it's nothing special, but I think it's going to hit, and I think it's going to be automatic. Antonio Brown's season yards, 725.5 over-unders minus 112 at FanDuel. I think that is a smash, no-brainer. I would throw $1,000 on it and wouldn't even think twice, because last year Antonio Brown played 8 games and he had almost 500 yards. His trajectory smashes 725. I think he's going to be a 1,000-yard receiver, and it's not far-fetched to think that he could end up leading the Bucs receiving room in yards. Like Evans, Godwin, yeah, they're great, but you know what? Like Godwin was in and out of the lineup last year. Evans has dealt with some injuries in his past, and Brady loves Antonio Brown. He's going to be, working out of the slot a lot. They had a full offseason to connect and really build a chemistry. And I got to be honest, I think Antonio Brown could be getting close to 10 targets a game. I think he's the most valuable pick. I said it fantasy-wise. Antonio Brown's the most valuable receiver in that room, because you're getting him 5 rounds later than Evans and Godwin. He could be 70 catches, 1,000 yards, and 8 touchdowns. I think AB over 725.5 is an absolute smash. Not even a question. He'll probably have that by week 11, week 12.
He's got that skill set that Brady loves, right? Like you can put him anywhere on the field, inside, outside. He runs good routes, and like you mentioned, Brady loved him in their short time in New England, and obviously at the second part of last year as well. And just whether it was a guy like Brown or Edelman or Wes Welker, like he loves that skill set, a guy who can run sharp routes and has good hands, sort of thing. And he gets his guys and he trusts them. So it's not a stretch at all to think he'll go over that.
And it's not, and it's crazy to say this, Bruce Arians just came out and said he is blown away by not only the level of play, but the work ethic that he's seen from Antonio Brown this summer, something he hasn't even seen in about 5+, 6+ years. Actually, maybe even longer, going back to his days in Pittsburgh. He goes, we're basically looking at a brand new Antonio Brown, like a guy who's hungry, he's committed, and the talent was never the question for Antonio Brown. Like, he's one of the most talented players. Like, he always had a great work ethic. That's what separated him, because his talent was good, but he was so good because he put in the extra work. Like, he's not a guy like Calvin Johnson who's physically gifted. So it was just, the off the field issues. But, if Antonio Brown's doing that, forget it, man. He's going to have over 1,000 yards this year, 725.5. Seems like a steal. What do you think, Kyle?
Well, I was actually just looking at something here because something very interesting just came across the television. And it's just, I know it's a little off topic, but I got to say it. The Ravens are signing Le'Veon Bell to their practice team. So that's big for that backfield there for anybody that's got Gus Edwards. And I do have Gus Edwards in one of my leagues. So that's why I was looking and I had to fiddle around. Tom Brady is for a player prop this Thursday night against the Cowboys. 2.5 touchdowns. You buying the over on that? He's at plus 138, I think, right now.
Who's that?
Tom Brady. 2.5 touchdowns.
Oh, easy.
Yeah, over, right? Easy money. Lock it in, folks.
What was the numbers?
It was 2.5, and I think he was plus 138 or 148, something.
Yeah, like 3 touchdowns, Tom Brady. Yeah, I think he goes 325, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, probably 70% completion. Like, I think he picks apart the Dallas defense. The only way is if, like, maybe Fournette or Ronald Jones vulture something around the goal line. But that's my only concern is if Jones and Fournette kind of take over at a point here, which they're fully capable of. But also think about it. Maybe bet Brady to put in a sneaker at the 1 yard line. I think he's like 5-1 to score a touchdown.
Really? Yeah. I love that. What to put it past him?
Nope. So, Andrew, let me ask you, floor is yours. Give me the Caley's best bet of week 1. Okay, so after Miami. I'm actually going to give you guys a 3-team 6-point teaser, which I love. I'm teasing the Dolphins. I am teasing the Dolphins. I'm going to take them on Miami, but in my teaser, I'm going to tease them to +9. And then I'm going to tease the Packers to +1.5. We haven't talked much about this game, but this is supposed to be a Saints home game, and they ain't got no home for a little while, and it's going to be the line only moved about 1.5 sort of thing, and I don't think it's enough. I will play it safe, though, and tease the Packers to +1.5 there, and then I'll add the Seahawks tease to +3.5. Together, that pays 160 total. The Seahawks, we still don't know the availability of Carson Wentz for this game. I believe if he can't go, it's Jacob Eason, and that's not great. I like a lot of what the Colts are doing, but they need Wentz under center, and I believe they've got some issues on the offensive line right now as well.
Quentin Nelson, yep.
And so while Jonathan Taylor could have a good year, and I like Michael Pittman for fantasy this year as well, I'm a little wary in this spot against the Seahawks. So that teaser together will pay out +160, and that's what I'm looking at as my favorite play this week.
I love that, man. I really do. And I got to tell you, we didn't really talk about the Packers that much, but I'm going to share something with everybody, a quick nugget. In the last 19 games, the last 19 week 1 and 2 games combined from the New Orleans Saints, they are 3-16 against the spread. 3-16. Let me say that again. In their last 19 games of week 1 and week 2, the New Orleans Saints are 3-16 against the spread. Now they're going to a neutral field amidst the hurricane. They have no Michael Thomas. Yes, Jameis Winston's looked good in the preseason. This is his first game. Their defense still has some question marks. And
that's 3-16 ATS with Drew Brees as your quarterback, not Jameis Winston.
Exactly. And let me tell you something else, dude. And we've said this, Rodgers and Adams, it's the last dance for them. They're fed up with everybody. They're coming for blood. I wouldn't be surprised they hang 40 on them. Like I really wouldn't. But let me just throw out a quick another step before I forget. And guys, I got to be honest here because it's like one of the eighth wonders of the world. It really is. Would you believe that? And we talked about this. We had a great guest last week, Chris Ostro, and he brought up how good Teddy Bridgewater is as a cover king. Teddy Bridgewater is the cover king. As a starter in his career, he is 36-14 against the spread. That's over 70%. That's
insane.
Automatic. Now you got the Broncos going on the road. New defense. You get Von Miller back. Bridgewater is as steady as they come. You got a good rushing attack. Courtland Sutton's finally back in action. Giants have a ton of question marks. And I got to be honest. I think, the Broncos could get a good game script, hammer it down the Giants' throat. And you know what? They're laying 2.5 on the road. I think they easily can win by 3. I don't think it's really that much to think about.
I really like that play, actually. And you also didn't mention that wide receiver. You mentioned Sutton's back, but I think Judy takes another step forward this year. Another guy to look out for, another speedster is KJ Hamler, guy to Penn State a couple years ago. Guy is like, if he gives them the deep threat, Judy's underneath, and Sutton's the do everything guy. You have 2 solid running backs and a great defense. That Broncos team could make us some money this year against the spread.
Let's not forget about Noah Fant either.
Yeah, for sure.
And then Timmy Patrick had some big plays. Like they got weapons, man. As long as Teddy Bridgewater is just the captain of the ship, as long as he's that and doesn't make the mistakes, he's just got to be like Russell Wilson.
Yeah. Don't
make the mistakes. Make a couple plays when your team needs it. Don't make the big mistake. Let your defense and running game take care of it. You got a couple receivers that make plays. Like that's I think the Giants. The jury's still out on them because Saquon Barkley, we don't know how he's going to be. He might be on a snap count. The line is terrible. Galladay's got a nagging hammy, and Kadarius Toney's missed time. There's just not and Evan Ingram might not even play. Like there's just a lot not to like about the Giants right now. But that brings us to more betting. The Gambling Guineas best betting trends of the night, my favorite segment because it features yours truly. So I touched last week on a couple division winners, and I figured, let's just do them all. So all odds are via points bet. First off, the AFC West, Kansas City Chiefs minus 275. I mean, as much as I love the Chargers, I can't take away the fact that Kansas City is 44-12 over the last 3 seasons. I mean, you could pencil them in for at least 12 wins this year. It's hard not to take them. Next, I would say AFC North. The Browns are the second team in contention there behind the Ravens. I think the Browns at plus 140 is pretty good odds. Now the Ravens lost J.K. Dobbins. That's a big loss. Their defense is always really good, and the Browns-Ravens either have some heavyweight bouts or it's a blowout, one way or the other.
And they did just pick up Bell.
It doesn't matter. And I think, the Browns at plus 140, it's pretty good value. They're going to take a step. If I believe that they're going to be a Super Bowl team this year, then I think they have to start by winning their division. AFC South, Titans minus 115. It's really between the Titans and the Colts. The Texans have no shot. I don't believe in the Jaguars. And the Colts, with the quarterback question mark, Quentin Nelson, it's just not there for me. It's the Titans to lose. Minus 115 is really not that bad. NFC West, the Rams at plus 200. We talked about the Cardinals. The Seahawks I don't believe in. I don't think Russell Wilson's that good. Their defense isn't good. He doesn't have the Legion of Boom anymore. Chris Carson's, bound to miss a couple games this year. And the Niners, yes, they have quarterback questions, but, to me, the best quarterback in this division is Matthew Stafford in real life. And he has the best team. He's got one of the best defenses. He's got a great complement of weapons, a great play caller. And, at plus 200, and I think the Rams are going to be the Super Bowl winner this year. NFC North, Packers minus 170. The Vikings have too many question marks. The Bears, we don't know when Justin Fields is going to start. It might be too little too late. The Lions have virtually no shot to win more than 5 games, one would think. So the Packers, by default, they've won 13 games each of the last 2 seasons. NFC South, Tampa Bay, minus 250. This is a big favorite, but to me, I think New Orleans is going under their 9.5 projected. I don't think New Orleans wins more than 9 games, and I think Tampa Bay is going to go over. They're going to win 12 or more. They're going to figure it out. Earlier this season, they did last year. Year 2 is when quarterbacks and Bruce Arians' systems start clicking. Brady had a good year last year statistically, but very up and down at times. I think this year, like Carson Palmer in 2015, it finally clicks. It all comes together. They're gelled fresh off a Super Bowl win. I will say, though, I don't believe in the Saints. I don't believe in the Falcons. The Panthers, I think they were at plus correct me if I'm wrong, they were at like plus, I want to say 1,000, roughly plus 1,000 to win the division. Now, it sounds bizarre, and I don't believe in Sam Darnold, but look at what Matt Rule did last year for the Panthers without Christian McCaffrey for most of the season. They have DJ Moore. Now they got the kid Terrace Marshall. They got Robbie Anderson fresh off 1,000 yards. They got McCaffrey back. Sam Darnold, I don't think he's that bad. I just think he wasn't put in a position to succeed. I think Matt Rule can really turn around. Look what he did for Teddy B, and their defense is surprisingly scary. Just added J.C. Horn in the secondary. They have a very formidable front seven. I'm not saying the Panthers are going to win, but anybody looking to take a shot, the Panthers were very close to making the playoffs last year. Don't sleep on them possibly as a long shot to win the division.
Plus
to
1,200.
Me,
plus
1,200. Exactly. For the value, they're not a bad bet at all.
Yeah, don't hate it. Don't hate it. I'm actually a Sam Darnold apologist, so I don't hate it at all. I really like him there with Matt Rule. Matt Rule has proven to be, he rebuilt that Baylor program, and he's quickly doing the same with the Panthers. I really like what he's doing as a head coach in the NFL.
How do you see DJ Moore this year? You think he takes another step up in that offense?
I don't know if he needs to 100%. Like if he does what he did last year or improves just a little bit, that'd be great. Robbie Anderson on the other side gives them a really good deep threat. And with Christian McCaffrey out of the backfield, that's going to be a tough team to slow down. And another more Canadian content, Chuba Hubbard in the backfield to back up Mr. McCaffrey there. He's a plow horse from Alberta, and he just ran all over the Big 12 the last couple of years. And I think he could be
Oklahoma State, and
he'll have a good chance to do some work if and when McCaffrey gets injured. I'm sure he'll miss a couple of games here or there.
Well, the other thing too about Chuba is he was looked at as being potentially going into this past year one of the top backs in the draft class until they kind of bottomed out for him his senior year because Oklahoma State just they ran him into the ground essentially.
For sure.
So as we're wrapping up the show here, it's one of the games you highlighted earlier, but Andrew, the floor is yours for the Emerging Player of the Night, brought to you by Emerge Sports Group, our boy Jay Hen at Fantasy Gods. What a savage. Take it away, Mr. Caley.
So my Emerging Player of the Night for Week 1 of the NFL is going to be my guy, Tua Tagovailoa. I really think this is a year where he shows what he's made of. He's 100% healthy off of that injury. He's a really good quarterback. I don't think people are giving him a fair shake this year. The team in Miami is good. It's well coached. And I think he's going to be able to take advantage of that Patriots team that will be without Stephon Gilmore. And that defense is okay. It's not great, but I really think we're going to see the best of Tua in this matchup. And he's my guy this week.
You love it, man. Absolutely love to see it. So, Kyle, what's your final thoughts, man?
Well, quick question, Johnny. Are we going to be back on Thursday, or is this going to be it for the week?
This is going to be it for the week, baby. Daddy's got things to do on Thursday.
All right. Well, I don't want to be the Debbie Downer, but, we are coming up on the 20-year anniversary of one of the saddest days in our country's history. Just don't forget, thank a local service person. Thank our first responders. Just be grateful that we're in the country that we live in.
Great final thought, Kyle. Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, man. I'm speechless. Absolutely.
Good. I'm glad I could do that to you.
All right, don't get used to it. Andrew, what about you, man? What are you feeling for final thoughts?
I'll echo Kyle there. Obviously, it makes me feel old, if anything else, too. Like 20 years ago,
I can't forget where you were at when it happened.
I was in the 9th grade, I remember, and even in Canada, it was obviously on the news, and it was just shocking. On my high school and my junior high, we shut down where we were because flights were grounded everywhere.
You're really that old, Andrew? I thought you were around my age because I'm dead ass serious. I was only in like the 4th grade at the time, so I thought that you were more my age.
I'm a little old. I'm 35, so I'm a little older than I look. But
no kidding.
Yeah. So I was in the 9th grade, and I remember all the planes getting grounded. And we have an international airport where I am in Halifax, Nova Scotia here. and we had to close the schools because they used the school to house all the grounded people. And it's just crazy to think that 20 years has gone already. But yeah, so yeah, like Kyle said, thank service members wherever you can, and just be grateful that we live in a place like Canada and a place like the US, and treat your neighbors nicely. Let's put aside a lot of differences that people like to point out these days, and let's just treat your neighbor the way you'd like to be treated, and move forward, and let's win some money on the NFL season. I'm just so jacked for the NFL season to start. Let's go out and make some money, guys.
You know what? I echo both of your thoughts. Absolutely, 100%. On a football note, I definitely, everybody's so excited, and you can follow my Twitter at _JohnnyVTV for my picks, but my Instagram at GamblingGuinea, or my other Instagram at JohnnyVTV. Everything's got all my picks. But let me say this about the betting. There's a lot of great games to attack this week. I have to count on two hands how many games I would look to attack. Don't overthink it. Follow the trends. We put out the trends about Teddy Bridgewater, how good he is as a starter. Denver's a great September team. New Orleans is bad. Another one I could tell you guys right now, the Ravens. The Ravens' last 4 season openers, they're 4-0, and they have obliterated their opponent. They beat them by at least 20 points, and the Ravens are -4.5 on the road to the Raiders. So don't ignore the trends. Don't overthink stuff. It's week 1. There's a lot of sample size, or not much sample size at all. No sample size, I guess, period. Just don't overthink it, man. Pick the better team, because the better team is not only going to win most likely this week for most of the games, but they're probably going to cover as well. So don't overthink it.
And just to add on to that, make sure you shop around. There's plenty of books out there, as we mentioned before. Head over to covers.com. Check out our odds page. We intake odds from tons of different books. You can find them all on one odds page. If you like a team and you think they're at 8, but you want to find that 7.5, we'll have that information over there. We've got odds for totals, spreads, money lines, everything. We've got it all. So head over to Covers, and we've got you covered.
Great.
Andrew, one more.
I was just saying, great plug with Covers there, Andrew. And then one thing I was going to give here real quick is that I really love Tampa Bay. I mean, they're at -8 right now, but like I said, I love them. They should walk away 10 points easy in that game. Then you got Cleveland. I'm actually waiting for the line to go up in that game, like you were just saying, Andrew, with like different lines and different sports books. I'm just waiting for the public line to really be taking Kansas City heavy, and that line to go up to 7.5, and then I'm going to jump on Cleveland, because I think Cleveland is only a field goal game here. Denver, like Johnny said, the Giants have way too many problems right now. I think that despite being a West Coast team going East Coast, but they're playing at 425, not 1, so. I'll give Denver that one there. And then Green Bay against New Orleans. I mean, that's as far as I'm concerned, that's a cakewalk. Aaron Rodgers, baby. Aaron Rodgers.
Well, so Andrew, got a request here. Let's give me that parlay one more, or that teaser one more time that you were talking about.
Okay, so my 3-team teaser, it's a 6-point teaser. So I'm teasing the Dolphins to +9, the Packers to +1.5, and the Seahawks to +3.5. You tease that together, and that'll pay out at +160.
No doubt, man. So Packers, Chiefs, and Seahawks. There you go. Well, Andrew, we really appreciate you taking the time, and it's always a pleasure to speak to you, and we'll definitely have you on again. Great friend of the show. Tell everybody where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter at @covers_Caley. That's CALEY. I love tweeting out NFL prop picks all week long, so follow me for those. And I go headfirst into college football betting as well. If you like that, give me a follow, and find all my work and all my other great colleagues' work over at covers.com. We're just super jacked for football to start. Tons of coverage. We'll have previews for every single game this year in the NFL.
And you know something? He's pretty good at baseball too. He loves taking those Toronto Blue Jays. Always got these player props, man. I know he's happy about Robbie Ray.
I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if they caught Boston. I wouldn't be shocked.
I want them so badly to get in. I just don't want them to like this.
At this point, I want the Sox to lose so that they get a better draft pick in June next year.
I know we're going to lose both Ray and Simeon. I think they're both gone. There's no way Ray is going to get himself like $25 million a year, and so is Simeon. I think they're both gone. The core is still great in Toronto, but I just don't want them to waste this opportunity this year.
Long overdue with Ray.
Yeah,
Barrios get traded there.
Barrios, we got Barrios to and he's there for another season. People are a little.
He got control. Okay.
Yeah, we got control for next year too. People were a little worried because we gave up 2 of our top prospects for him. But I've always been of the mindset like you always trade potential for major league talent. And Barrios is he's had his ups and downs. Obviously, they needed help in that rotation because the bullpen was struggling because the rotation wasn't pitching long enough into games. And now that the rotation is in this great upswing right now, the bullpen's getting a little better. We got Nate Pearson, one of our top prospects in the bullpen now too. Hopefully Julian Merriweather, a guy nobody knows about, but he throws like 100. He came from the Josh Donaldson deal a few years ago, and he just returned. He can hit 100, and hopefully we see him strike out some Yanks in the next couple days.
Well, Andrew, thank you so much for taking the time. Best of luck this season, and we'll talk to you again soon, man.
Can't wait, guys.
All right, join us next week, Tuesday, JohnnyVTV Live. We're going to stay talking football. We're going to react to what happened week 1, maybe do a little look ahead for week 2 and see what we can get you for some winners. And we'll have the full squad.
Andrew. Loved having you here, bro.
Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it. All right, till next Tuesday.
Till next